Well, hi, this is Lynn, and Teresa Walding is here with me. This is Advancing Nurse Coaching, and today is the 16th day of April. Aren't you glad the deadline for taxes was yesterday? At any rate, we're here today, and we're just going to talk about what is so dear to everyone's heart, which is life in perfect motion. We are just rolling with the way that things are and not complaining, not regretting, not looking back and saying, what if, but moving on with our lives because that is the only time that we have. Only the present moment can be lived, not the past, not the future, only this moment in time. Teresa?
Well, that's a perfect topic for today since we have been trying to get onto the Facebook Live because we really wanted to connect with everyone. So, Plan B is we're recording this for you around life in perfect motion. And today we're living that better than ever, right? So I'm still grateful to be here and to be in the conversation and connect with people who are, and especially nurses who are interested in making their lives better and making and helping their patients live their best life as well. And it doesn't always run on a schedule, as we found out today.
Well, it's beautiful to be able to have spontaneous celebrations with family whenever those occur, and with friends and with associates at work. So, those spontaneous celebrations really are the juice of life, and they give us what feeds our souls and gives us the enthusiasm to take the next step.
I love that you said that, given the way today is working out. Because you're right that it was the spontaneous moment that kind of made me run late, and then technology didn't work. And I thought, I could have a whole lot of thinking about this, and why didn't I plan better, and why didn't I do better? And I thought, I'm just grateful that I have people in my life that want me here, that um, allow for that spontaneity and for our ability to live that life in perfect motion. And truthfully, that's the only time we really have. It's the way we truly do live life. And I'm grateful to be able to drop the stress around trying to do something on a time schedule that's not working out like I want it to. And I actually think that's probably more often what happens in our world, especially in the world of nursing. And I know that when we let go of our extra thinking about being perfect or being at the exact time or trying to control time, um, life just shows up anyway. And somehow we still get it done.
Well, and it was interesting. I picked up a little email from an associate of ours. Um, his name is Scott Kelly, and he was talking about men and how they often have a ticker tape running around on the background saying, "I thought I should be here by now." Well, that's not where you're at. You're
Yeah.
not in the future. You're not in the past. You're here now. Just this.
I hear that little voice in the back that says, stop shoulding all over yourself, that life should look a certain way or be a certain way. And I actually like that because when I keep telling myself I should do this, I should do that, I hear that little voice that says, well, stop it. Be here, be present, be now.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, just think about that, Teresa. How much of life people miss, how much of life we miss because we're listening to the words in our head instead of enjoying the moment, whatever that moment may be. And I mean, we're on the planet now. Every moment is precious. There are no moments that are not. We don't actually have throwaway moments. that we want to lose parts of our life. And for us to think that there should be some kind of a trajectory from the bottom straight to the top is pure illusion because what day has ever turned out exactly the way you thought it would? It just never happens like that. So a genuine appreciation, and it's not saying thank you to yourself or to anybody else, but just a feeling of gratitude, just a feeling of everything really is all right and the way that it is supposed to be. It's kind of funny. I've got a number on the clock that I love to watch, and every once in a while I'll look up from my work and I'll see that number and I'll just decide I'm going to relax and take a deep breath and enjoy that full minute just for myself. And I love to do that. And it's just a little signal to me. It comes up twice a day on every clock in the house and on my phone. And I love to take that moment, that 1 minute just for me to relax, to breathe, to recenter.
I find myself doing that too. Maybe I'll pick a time on the clock, but I notice when I'm really spun up or when I'm thinking too fast or moving too fast, it does help a lot to take a pause and realize speeding up doesn't get it done any faster, as I noticed today. And being there with yourself and other people and slowing down to the speed of life. Because if you don't do that, like Lynn said, you miss those moments that do make our memories, that do bring our enjoyment of life. And when you have a really busy mind, it's hard to concentrate on that one moment. So I'm going to try that today. That's my thing today. For twice today, I'm going to stop and for 1 full minute, just breathe. Just breathe.
And just recognize if we didn't have any down times, we couldn't have any up times. It's a perfect balance for all of us. And I think in our culture, we just haven't really attained an appreciation for what I'm calling the down times, just the times when it appears that we're not productive, that we are just resting. And isn't it true that recharging our batteries is one of the most important things that we do in life?
And we talk about that a lot, taking care of ourselves, slowing down for a minute. And I think sometimes when we do it, there's this sense of, should I be doing this now? Yes, yes, you should. If your body is telling you to slow down and take a moment, learning to listen to that signal quiets the noise that keeps us so busy. I find for me, when my mind is really busy, if I can find the one thing to focus on, it helps cancel out all the extra noise. And I think that 1 minute actually interrupts that noise that helps us to become present to our life. And I think it's one of the most important things that we can do um, in the physical world, trying to give ourselves that opportunity to connect with the life that we have, the one life that we have in all the forms that it takes. And in this moment, I'm realizing that I feel very grateful that I get to have those moments.
Wow. Yeah, I remember a wise man one time telling us that we wanted to get ourselves into a family unit. And so we could enjoy going on picnics and going camping and just having fun with a very small group of people that were special to us. And I just thought that was really wise advice. And not that there's anything wrong with being single. Of course, that's fun too. But it's just that, well, in my sense of things, the fun multiplies when you have more people. And it's a joy to live with children because it's such a surprise. Every day, something new is coming every day. And even with teenagers, I mean, they poo-poo the things that we do and they think that they know so much more. But it's fun to watch them and fun to talk with them because if we can get inside their heads and see the world from their point of view, there's something there for us to learn as well. And
Yeah, I
that's the
agree with
fun.
that. That is fun. I love to watch young people figuring it out and helping them see maybe something in a new light. That is the fun because, from our own point of view as adults, um, we can see them doing it. And I think it's a beautiful synergy to bring the generations together and be the sounding board, if you will, for their life.
Well, and speaking of bringing the generations together, I mean, there are places in the world that do what might be considered a very different approach to the elderly in the community. And many, many cultures incorporate them into the nuclear household. And, so there will often be three generations living under the same roof or adjacent to each other. And that was actually something that we, I'll say, enjoyed in this culture not so very long ago, especially when we had farm families and so many people were living on the land. So many families were three generation families at that point. And there was something there to be appreciated too, which um, I understand, I'm part of the healthcare system myself. So we have evolved in a different direction, but at the same time, we've lost something too. I know when I visited in Sweden to my parents, let's see, Ted's cousins, they had, uh, it was a beautiful complex. They had an apartment for the older couple with whom we were staying. And then as you looked around the community, there was an elementary school and there was uh, lots of people working. So it was a quote unquote man-made community. It was designed that way.
Hmm.
And so all of the generations got to mix and mingle with each other. And it was, I thought, really brilliant that they had done it that way.
I think people are intentionally doing that again because, you know, we do have people in our world right now who didn't have good role models or families that nurtured them in a way that maybe they would have liked. And I find they're some of the strongest people I know. But I also see them making those changes in their life and in their children's life and intentionally creating a way for them to connect and change some of the paradigms that we used to live in and give us an ability to enjoy those around us in a way that feels nurturing and rewarding.
Well, and it's so fun to see the grandparents interacting with the grandchildren, and just the wisdom that the grandparents share is so precious. And the joy in life and living that the kids share with the grandparents are equally precious. Um, I came from a really large extended family, and I remember my grandfather sitting in his giant, as I looked at it from a 3-year-old perspective, rocking chair. And I would run between the kitchen and the dining room, and he would be sitting there on his rocking chair, and he would grab me around the neck with his cane as I ran through the door from one room to the other. And we always laughed and laughed about that. It was just a fun little interchange. Nothing special. In fact, it was good, dumb, but we had a great time doing it.
I love the stories. I'm a story person. I love metaphors. I love stories because we see so much of ourselves in the stories. And bringing back those memories of what you were just talking about, um, I too came from a large extended family. My mom was one of 13. So we had Sunday dinner at grandma's my whole time growing up. And so we have many times where we had, interactions with each other. They played a lot of music, guitars and banjos and oh, you name it, they played it and they sang. And I just it just brought back a lot of good memories of the things that we used to do that build community. And I think as we become more intentional with our lives, I think a lot more people are doing that now. It'd be fun to listen to your comments and what maybe you're doing in your own family about connecting or reconnecting or creating your own communities. Um, I believe nurse coaching is doing that. The one thing that we all crave, whether we say so or not, I know a lot of people are like, I could do without people, but I do think we crave a community of people who actually care about each other and who want to interact. And, I'm all about having some alone time too. It's not all about being always interactive and involved, but I'd like to hear what other people are doing and what they're creating in their lives that brings you enjoyment.
Well, Teresa, my family was the exact opposite of yours. My dad was one of 10 family members, and so we had a large family. We got together at grandma's every Sunday, but it was after we ate. We went to
Mhm.
grandma's and we sat around the table, actually around the outside of the dining room, and everyone, unless they had something to say, was perfectly silent. And so, in that way, it was like what could be described as a Quaker meeting. There was no sound unless somebody decided to offer something, and all of us would listen. But I know when my sister-in-law came for the very first time, and she sat in that circle with my brother, she was so unnerved by just the silence. She thought, well, everybody is looking at me and nobody's saying anything. What is going on here? So I just wanted to put that in there as the exact opposite of your family.
I'm just laughing. I learned something new about you today. I had no idea.
We
That's hilarious.
weren't Quakers, but that was the way
No,
we just have a very um, quiet and reserved demeanor
right.
on that side of the family.
I think it's hilarious. So much for separate realities. How we all experience this life in a completely different way. And truthfully, I think that's the beauty of the system that we all live in, and the most misunderstood part of the way that we live. Because I think most people try to control circumstances, control people, or control, like your sister-in-law trying to go, I don't know what to do with this environment. What do I do here?
Oh, am I ever going to fit in? Yeah,
Right,
really.
right.
Well, talk about separate realities. I mean, it sounds like an interesting topic. It's not something that I've seen in the news. Where does that come from?
Well, our colleague and friend who recently passed gifted us with what we call implications, not applications. And one of those implications is called separate realities. And it's really quite beautiful because on the right-hand side of our page, we call it outside in, we think that separate realities works in the way of if you think like me, everything will be okay. We try to control other people's thoughts or feelings or have what a lot of people will call venting sessions about, well, look at it my way, see it my way.
Hmm.
And when we realize it's never going to happen, which we
Hmm.
call inside out, my thoughts can never be yours. Yours can never be mine, ever. And when we know that the system that we live in works that way, what happens is we stop trying to change other people, stop trying to fit them into our box, and creates a way for us to be better listeners, better human beings, a lot less judgment, and a more enjoyment of life, because when we see what's happening with others, we can see it in ourselves too. None of us are,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean that applies to every family member that we're in touch with, and also everybody that we work with. And if we zoom out and take it to the largest viewpoint, we really are. I'll describe it as guilty of expecting the rest of the world to think like we think, and they may. I mean, just look around the world. We're so different, and the background of culture, the background of religion, the background of politics absolutely is not the same. Why would we even begin to think that they would think like us? But that's where we come um, at people in the world today thinking that they're just like me. And nobody can be just like me, and especially somebody halfway around the world with a different culture, politics, and religion. That's really obvious. But even, in your family or in your work situation, it's equally true. No one can have your thoughts. And I can't have your thoughts, and you can't have my thoughts.
yeah. I just remembered a commercial that played a few years ago, and because I'm thinking of like husband-wife relationships, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend. And he's sitting on the couch scrolling through the TV, and he's sitting there and he's all sullen, and she's walking around, with the laundry, and she's cooking, and she's got the, doing whatever she's doing in the background. And every time she walks by, she goes, is he leaving me? Is something happening? What's going on? And the final bubble that comes out at the end of the commercial was, I can't figure out why my motorcycle doesn't work. So, it's not about um, what other people are thinking, because we misinterpret signals all the time. We think we understand them so well. Oh, I wonder what else is going on. And then we turn around and make it about ourselves.
Well, didn't
And
you tell a story one time about a fish?
I did. So one time, a friend of mine was in her happy place, and she was all excited. She had bought some fish. She was making him a healthy dinner, and anticipating what the dinner's going to be. And her husband walks in the door, and he goes, "Oh, why are you cooking fish?" She goes, "Well, I'm making this dinner." And he goes, "I can't believe you're cooking fish today." Well, they got in an argument about the fish, and so she was said, "I got so upset, I threw the fish in the trash. He went to the room, and we didn't speak to each other the rest of the evening." And that's when I saw her the next day, and she's like, told me that story. And I said, "That wasn't about the fish. It was completely separate realities." She goes, "Yeah, I figured that out. He had a really bad day, and I didn't want him to interrupt my day because I was having such a good day." And
Mhm.
that's how many conflicts happen, is when we don't understand what's happening in our world and we misinterpret the signals.
It's not about the fish.
It is not
That
about the fish. And the other part that was funny about that was, for several days when things were going wrong at work, quote wrong, called normal life, she'd walk by and she'd go, "It's not about the fish." I was like, "No, no, it's not." But it lightened the mood. It spoke to something that is true, that when we realize that we're having a separate reality, we can judge that other person a lot less harshly, including ourselves.
Well, that may be our best place to end our call today. I
Yeah,
am really glad that all of you could join us, and I know that what we have to offer is something that you don't get everywhere. And I hope that you've heard something different in what we had to share, and that you can take a grain of truth away and begin to live your life in a wonderful, more open and respectful way when you're working with others, knowing that separate realities really do exist and it is not about the fish.
I agree. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And if you enjoyed this, leave a comment in the comment section, and we would really appreciate it. Take care.